Hello everyone and welcome to Gentle Yoga. I'm Debbie Nolan with Henrico Recreation and Parks, and I'm so happy you're here today to share Gentle Yoga with me. So before we start, a few little housekeeping things. You'll need a yoga mat, and if you don't have a yoga mat, you might very well want a nice colorful beach towel or something that speaks to you. If you have carpet on your floor at home, you'd still need a towel to put it over an area where your face may be when we lay down. You never know where yoga will take you, so that will protect the skin on your face, that more delicate area. So you need those two things. You might very well want a block, a yoga block. Now, if you don't have a yoga block, a book of 2-inch to 3-inch width is good, or a nice firm pillow from your couch is good as well. And then you may want a yoga strap. Now, if you don't have a yoga strap, you may very well want to use an old belt, the old sash off of a robe. Anything like that will work really well. So just have those at hand. So I'll give you a moment to get situated, or you can pause and then come back and start again. And then as we get started, we're going to begin on our back today. So when we start on our back, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what it looks like from the side. Good, but the big thing is that as we get ready to start, let's push up the door and allow yourself to have this time for you, right now, this moment in time. So let's leave outside that door the busyness of your day, no matter what happened earlier, or anything that's going to happen in the future, but right now, for this moment in time, this is your practice, and we together will explore all of the opportunities that it presents for you. So let's go ahead and get ready to begin. So come to your reclining position, and let's bend our knees. Good, as we're here, bend your knees. Good, lift your pelvis off the floor a little bit. And then just let your knees shake a little bit side to side so they'll start to release. Good, and bring the feet so that they're about hip distance apart. Good, tickle any itches that you may have. Good, and fix your clothing because we all know it gets all out of adjustment at any time that you need to, because you just need a wardrobe adjustment every now and then so you can focus on your practice. Good, so first we just begin here. And allow yourself to find your breath. As you inhale and exhale, notice where you're holding tightly. Maybe your shoulders are elevated forward. Perhaps you just allow them to relax back. Good. Notice everywhere where your spine touches the mat. And perhaps you, again, move your pelvis a little bit side to side so that you can feel that total connection from the shoulder blades all the way down to your tailbone. And then find your breath. Let's join together the mind and the body with your breath. Always the link. The mind asks, the breath helps the body respond. So as you breathe in and out, just give yourself a moment to start to release the busyness of the day. Now, right away, you may have busy thoughts in your mind, and that's human nature. And it's really hard to calm them down because that's human nature. But we work towards a certain amount of stillness in our practice. So bring your focus to your breath and notice the inhales and the exhales. The front of your body subtly reaches towards the sky. And then when you exhale, it's as if all the tension in your body starts to release and relax away from your body. As you breathe in and out, acknowledge those thoughts in your mind. Perhaps you acknowledge one as you inhale in. And then give yourself permission on the exhale to let it go for the next period of time that we spend with each other. They'll be waiting for you right there at any given time. So if they pop back into the forebrain from the periphery of your thought processes, just give yourself a moment. Find your breath, acknowledge, and let that go. Good, so as we breathe in and out here, scan your body. Just look for places that need a little special attention today. Maybe you had a vigorous workout yesterday, or maybe you have twinges in the hinges, or just areas that need nurturing. And if you do, just acknowledge those and know that as we work through the sensations that we feel in the poses today, find your challenge from the beginning of the edge of the movement to where we reach a point where sensation becomes pain. And we do not want ever pain in any practice, in any exercise, no matter what you're doing. So start to become a friend with your body and explore and understand what you're feeling, and halt. Halt, don't press. Know when you're there. There is where that edge, when the pain begins. So we don't want to be there. Find that place for challenge, for opportunity, and be receptive. Good, so here let's think about adding a little bit of movement to this. So press your feet into the mat and tilt your tailbone up. Press your lower back into the mat. Uddiyana, draw your abdominals inward and upward. Good, now exhale and allow the tailbone to come down to the mat. And again, inhale, float your hips a little higher. So each time you lift and lower, you come up a little higher on the spine. You may have to reposition your feet. Good. And you'll notice that, you know, some people will lift high, some people will be closer to the mat. That's normal. Don't worry about how high you go. Just worry about feeling, well, don't worry at all, but look for the sensation of feeling of one vertebrae at a time coming up until you work your way up to the bottom of the shoulder blades. So let's add a little arm movement with that. So let's think rainbow arms. So inhale, the arms come up as the hips come up, and then exhale, everything flows back down. So we inhale, the hips flow up. You really feel your shoulder blades right here, and then exhale, come back down. Good, and again, we float up and flow back down. Now maybe you change the arm motion a minute just to wake up your shoulders. Here, swim back to your hips. So we flow up and swim back to your hips. So float up and swim. Good, this next time, let's just reverse the direction. Good, so this time float the arms up and then rainbow back over your body down. So float the arms up and rainbow back down. Let's do one more of those. So float the arms back up and flow back down. As we pause right here, just let the knees go to the side again. Slide your arms up to the letter T position. Move anything that's in your way out of your way. Good. Feel the shoulder blades in contact with the mat. Good. Now let's pause and bring up one knee and bring up the other knee. Good. You want to have a sensation of your knees being right over your hips. And if you're not sure, extend your arms. Let the heel of your hand touch your knees. That is over your hips for most people. Good, so here today, shift a little bit, make sure your lower back touches, and then exhale, let's allow the arms to come back out. Good, pause right here. Good, and let the knees go to the right about 3 inches. Now shoulder blades stay on the mat, and then inhale, flow back to the center. Good, to the left, and then flow back to the center. So each time you come to the side, go a little bit deeper, closer to the mat, and flow back to the center. So a little bit of movement, waking everything up, and back to the center. Really think about keeping your abdominals lifted inward and upward. Your knees may or may not stay together. That's okay. Now on the next side, not this one, but the very next one. Good. When you reach your left side, we're going to pause and let the legs reach to the mat. Now, if they don't touch the mat, draw your knees up a little higher and then shift so that you feel both shoulder blades on the mat. Look in the direction of the right hand. Good, a little spinal twist. Imagine you're doing your dishes And when complete, you take the washcloth and then just round it together, squeeze it together, wrap it and squeeze out all of the water. So this rotation helps us do that. Same thing in the body. Squeezes all of the body internally, starts to wake things up. So let's flow the knees back up. Good, and go 3 times. So here's 1. Come back to the center. And there's 2. And back to the center. Now on the third one, stay, same movement. Knees go to the side. Head looks in the opposite direction. Good, now if your shoulder blade on the opposite side from the knees is floating up off the mat, draw your knees up and then reposition a little bit, and usually it'll float right back down for you. Good, so pausing there, breathing in and out. Good, really notice the play of the breath through the ribs on the upper side of your body, in this case the left side. You know, these muscles here between each rib are called the intercostals. I always think of the intercoastal waterways. They really help ships move inland along the shore, you know, along the beach area on the opposite side from the beach road, naturally. So these muscles are doing the same kind of thing here, helping air flow through those passages by their expansion and contraction. Very, very nice. Now let us come back upright. Good, and hands on the knees. Draw the knees towards your chest, flexing your feet. Good, and this is called Apanasana, or wind relieving pose. And yes, it's exactly what it means. So you're massaging your digestive tract to help that be a little more fluid. Good. So the knees come in close and flow back out, arm length. So you're drawing in, and the palm of your hand is on the knee, fingertips towards your toes. Good. And you exhale, of course, when the knees come in. Good, let's do one more there. Beautiful, now pause and let the feet come down. Excellent. So we're going to turn to one side and help ourselves to a seated position. So as we come upright, good, let's pause right here. Good, so as we pause here, good, first thing we want to think about is one leg in front of the other leg. And in this case, we're looking at the bottom leg coming forward and the top leg pressing back. So we're going to start right here in this position. This is called running deer. Good. And what you want to think about in this pose is you want your, in this case, left hip to be close to the floor. So if you slide your hand back here and you have a lot of daylight, like so, what you want to do is slide that knee away. Good. Perhaps you put a hand here and a hand here, lift up and settle. The other leg is just extended in front. So you can really just see the two of them, one back, one forward. Now, if you have the ability to rotate this back foot inward so that the foot is near your bottom, go for it. You know who you are. So in running deer, we want to add a rotation to this. So the legs are in the running position. Good, but the body, what we're going to do is turn towards the knee first. So sometimes, and we do this in yin as well, we're going to extend forward, hand on each side of the knee, but this time really lift up. Imagine you're looking at your eyebrows. Keep the back leg down as much as possible. Now, is your sit bone off the floor? Yes, but the inner thigh, think about it staying down. So we extend first. So this is active running deer, not sleeping deer. Good. Very nice. So you're going to find that different movements are going to affect you differently. So that's a very logical statement, isn't it? But it's very true. That's because yoga is for everybody and everybody's. That just means that biomechanically we're all different. So now we're going to inhale, lift up a little higher, and then we're going to rotate to the side. Now when we rotate to the side, that bottom leg, top leg right here, and in this case, that is your right leg. You want to slide it back just a little bit and then rotate. Now, your left leg is going to be down and be pretty strong. So here we are. Rotate and start tall first. And again, think about the rotation in the middle of your body. So you're rotating. Good. And we start tall. We're inhaling and exhaling. Good. Now, as you breathe, you may find that you can soften your elbows. Good. You may find that you want to use blocks and put your elbows on blocks. That's great. Good. You may find that you can work your way down to the mat, and if you can make two fists and put your forehead on top. Good. So as you're breathing in and out, you'll find the best place for you to express this pose today. So it may be here. It may be here. It could be here. So find the spot for you. Let the body lead you into these poses. Let yourself feel when you're not in that spot. And there's nothing wrong with just moving back. If you find being too low, it's just not working for you today. Remember, every yoga practice is different. You could do the same practice in the morning and again in the evening, and it would feel totally different. It could be totally identical, all the same poses, and it'll be different because your body is at a different place in time. Your mind is at a different place in time. Everything, it changes. Good. So running deer. Beautiful. As we breathe in and out, let us walk our hands back. Now, if you're on the blocks or on your elbows, work your way back up to your hands. Good, and then come more upright. Now, I'm going to face away from the camera, but what you're going to do is rotate away from your legs. So take a really big inhale in, come up tall, think about a swan. Good, and then you're going to slightly rotate to your right. So look over that shoulder. Don't rotate to the point where you get pain in your back, waistline, or hip. Just rotate to the point where you feel sensation. Good. Now, especially here in this leg, inhale in and then relax. Good. Now, as we float our arms forward, good, we're going to float the back knee up and float both legs forward. Now, as we float those legs forward, just if you're off your mat or out of position or need a wardrobe adjustment, now's the time to do it. Good. And then bend your knees again and come into the open leg position for running deer. Now, once again, like I mentioned, the start of this pose is all about the positioning of your lower body. So lift up if you don't feel your sit bone. You don't want to have a sense of being off to the side. So your knees are going to be reaching towards the left now. Position the legs accordingly. Good, and we start here, just allowing that back knee to release. Anytime you're in a pose and you feel pain or anything significant other than being grumpy in that area, then take the variation, which is just stretch your leg out instead. So generally the knee that'll have the most discomfort will be the internally rotated one. So let's just take a moment to be here. Good, and be long in the spine. Let your tailbone drop down. Think about that gap you may have here. If you need to put a pillow or something beneath, do that. Good, and as we start here, good, now let's bring hand on both sides of the knee. Good, first thing you notice is you probably are going to need to reposition slightly. Good, and extend out over that knee. So think length, drop your tailbone down, but extend through the crown of your head. Good, have a sensation of your body, your shoulders in particular, being parallel. So if you feel like you're lower, just lift up a bit more. Good. Drop the tailbone so you feel the spine elongate. Good, and we start here. Start to soften your elbows. And then on the next movement, you're going to press the knee back. And again, that is your left knee. Good, and bring the hands to the sides. Now you're going to have to totally reposition again. You want to think of your shoulders now being parallel with that thigh. Good, so take a big, big inhale, and then when you exhale, rotate. And once again, you may be here with the elbows up tall. Good, soften as you're breathing. You may find yourself all the way down to the mat, and that's good. 2 fists if you like, forehead on top. All good places to be, so find your spot. Another thing to always think about is yoga is not a static practice. You may be moving in and out of different variations of the pose. And you know, if it's just not working for you, you can always come into wherever the pose started from and just be there. You can always find child's pose and come there if you need to break or need a refocus. And in this case, you can pause the video. Come into child's pose. Good. Breathing in and out. Again, just finding that place to be in running deer. Good, so we've added a lot of rotational movements. In a moment, we're going to move to gate pose, Parigasana. Good, and we're going to do a little knee movement with that. So we'll have a few things that you'll need to gather or try to do to soften your knees if you have tender knees. Good, so let's go ahead and float back up. Good, and then flow to the center. Very nice. Now, shift and allow your knees to come closer together. We're going to come to kneeling, so let's go ahead and flow to there. Good. Now, the first thing you want to think about before we do anything else is if you have tender knees, you can take your yoga mat and just pull it back. Good, if you don't have a yoga mat, do you remember that handy dandy towel? Well, now's a chance to use it again if you're not using it as your mat. Bring your knees on top of that fold and voila, cushioning. Good, so we start in kneeling mountain pose. Good. Arms next to the body. And again, lift up through your body. Not the chin, but the body. So as we're here, float your shoulders back and down. Press your hips forward from the front of your body. So keep the seat muscles and back soft. Lift up tall. Good, and here just feel grounded. Breathing in and out. Uttanasana, Ardha Uttanasana. That just means half mountain pose. Here you want to have a sensation, again, of being grounded and connected, and yet reaching for opportunity to reach towards the sky, to reach toward that blue. You can close your eyes and see the blue of the sky and the fluffy clouds, but the green of the mountain reaching towards the sky. Beautiful. Closing your eyes, even on the knees, helps us experiment with our balance. We want to find that balance. Now, do trees sway in the wind? Yes. Do we find balance? Yes. Good. Now slowly open your eyes if they were closed. We're going to extend, excuse me, we're going to extend our right foot out. So as we bring that foot out to the side, what you're going to want to think about is the sole of the foot down. If you have on socks and you're using a yoga mat, you need to take the socks off because your foot will slide. So you don't want to do a split. It's not that if it's within your realm, but for today's purposes, take your socks off. Good, unless you have grippy ones. Good, so foot out, toe forward. Think about not sitting back but pushing your hips forward, just like we did in mountain pose. Imagine you have two little strings right here at the crest of your hip pulling you forward. Good. So in gate pose, in the old-fashioned times, they used two metal bars and put a piece of wood across. Here we're going to breathe up. Good. Bring that right arm down and keep the left one up. As you're lifted, first think tall. So we're lifting up. Good. And reaching in two directions. So now we're going to reach away or towards, not away, from, towards the foot rather. Good, the top arm is reaching away from the foot, bottom arm to the foot. This is a lateral movement. If your shoulder on top doesn't like that, you can always put your hand on your hip as you rotate. Good, you can put your hand on your shoulder as you lift. You can put a hand behind your head. All of those work. But do take care that the shoulder, the elbow, anything that you're using is back. Good. So you don't want to be able to see but a little bit of your arm out of the corner of your eye. Good. So gate pose. Parigasana. Good. So again, from this knee, good, that left supporting knee, all the way up to your hand. You're reaching, reaching, reaching. Good. Keep your knee soft on that extended leg. And then flow back to alternate arms or equal arms. Good. Now we're just going to shift the other way. Now perhaps you have a block. Good, and you had it handy. Your hand can go on the block and reach up. Good, you can use any plane of the block. You can use the flat until you're all the way down on the mat, reaching up. Now reach out over your head towards the point where the ceiling and the wall meet. Good, and this is a variation of extended angle pose. Good. Be very tall. Keep your foot on the straight leg, anchored. That's your right foot. Good. Arm comes back up to the sky. Now tighten everything in the center of your body and flow back upright. Good. Now float your arms down for a moment. Bend that leg. Walk your foot in. Excellent. So once you have that left leg in, right leg in rather, good. Roll your shoulders back and down. Good. Breathe out to the side. Float your hands together and flow down towards the mat. Now this is horse pose. In horse pose, where our leg is really out to the side, like it has been in this whole practice, and we're going to bend our elbows first, coming down towards the mat. So your torso is going to the inside of that bent leg. Good. Perhaps, again, you walk your hands towards the foot. Maybe an elbow comes down. Both hands touching. Maybe a hand goes behind the bent leg, and the other hand goes on top, head towards the hands. Here, really tighten the inner thighs of your right leg so that it's perhaps touching your shoulder. Very nice. So as we press into the mat, let's bring a hand back and a hand back. And as always in this practice, remember that you can pause at any time and hold the pose a bit longer if you like. Good. Now, guess what? Yes, we have the other side. So slide out now. Good, your opposite foot. Good. In this case, hey, it's the left foot. So walk your hands back. Come all the way upright again. Reach up to the sky first. Good, nice and tall. Good, reach out to the side. Now shoulder blades together. Press your hips forward. Good, make sure that extended foot is flat. Good, arms are out. Hand comes down. Good. Reach in two directions. Remember those variations for your arm. Your hand can be behind your head if you like. Keep that elbow back or on your shoulder. You're reaching in the two directions, and perhaps you're going lower. Inhaling and exhaling. Keep pushing your hips forward. Parigasana gate pose. Look down if it's more comfortable for your neck. Beautiful. And then as we flow back to the upright position, as we get ready to go in the extended position of extended angle pose, remember you can use your block. We come down now, left side, bring up the arm, reach out over your head towards the point where the ceiling and the wall meet. Keep pushing those hips forward. Glance down or glance up. Both are great. Breathing in, breathing out, and extend. Steady breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Nice long arm. Excellent. Arm flows back up. Come up on your fingertips. Good, and flow all the way back up. Good, now soften. Right leg, bring that foot in. Float your arms together in front. And let us flow all the way down. Good, now pause right here. Good, perhaps your elbows bend. Good, and perhaps this is where you are today. All good. Good. Perhaps you walk your hands over towards that foot. Good. Very nice. Perhaps you bring your hands a little closer to the foot. Maybe you come down on your elbow and imagine you're putting your head on your foot. Horse pose. Bring that thigh in and touch your shoulder. Now see, you might have your leg behind your shoulder. Who knows? Wonderful. Very, very, very nice. And notice the longer you hold the pose, the deeper you're able to go in it. So after your next exhale, let's inhale, slide the hand out from behind the foot if it's there, come back up on the palms of your hands, and bring them back in front. And then for our last kneeling pose today, we're going to move into camel pose. Now I'm going to turn sideways so that you're able to see this a bit better. Good. So I'm taking the mat flap out for me and moving it in a different direction. You don't need to change yours. Good. So let me make that little adjustment for my knees. Good. And we come back up to mountain pose on our knees. Now as we're here, really think about the crest of your hip going forward. Camel pose, Ustrasana, think of a one-hump camel. So your torso creates that hump. So first, we just start out with nice wide hands. So float your shoulders back and down. Place your hands right there on the pelvis. Press your elbows towards each other. So you really feel like you're leading with your sternum, not your belly button. So roll your shoulders back and down. Imagine you're being pulled forward by a little string on each crest of your hip. Maybe you gently press forward ever so much. Glance up. If you have no issues with your neck, your head can reach back more, or you can just look towards the point where the ceiling and the wall meet. Now really press down with your feet. Lift through your thighs. You'll feel a lot of sensation there more than likely. Keep pressing your elbows towards each other. Ustrasana, or camel's pose. Good, and then we float the shoulders back up over our hips. And then you can always stay in variation 1. Now let's think about the second variation. Now, back of your thighs, we're going to go a little lower, so back in here. Now, if you find that doesn't work for you, come back to the pelvis. Good, so how we're going to work this one looks this way. So the arm comes back and windmills back, touches your thigh. Same thing on the other side. And you really open the torso up more. Slide your hands down, look up, keep pressing your hips forward. Breathing in, breathing out. Really lift, Uddiyana, lift upward your abdominals, drop your tailbone down. Breathe in and out. Now with back bends, or extensions of the spine, you have to listen to your spine. You can always do one, none, or all of them, just whatever speaks to you today. Good, everybody bends a different degree as well. So we come out of this, arm comes back, arm comes back. Shoulders back over our hips, nice and tall. So we'll do one more. It's your option. You can tuck your toes and reach for the heel of the foot. Good. Now, if the heel of the foot is not accessible, bring your hand back to the back of your thigh. Good. Or you can be here. Or you can just have your hands right here if you've had enough. Good. So breathe in. Breathe out. Good. Find where you want to be. Flow back. Flow back. Press the hips forward. Glance up. Maybe you let the head relax back. Good. Breathe in. Keep pushing your hips forward. Breathe out. Good. Think of your shoulders dropping towards your heels. Good. Keep lifting through the front of your body. Inhaling, exhaling, breathing in and breathing out. Good. So no matter what position you're in, let's flow back out. Flow back out. Hands come together, shoulders over your hips. Beautiful. And then float your hands down to your mat. Good. Hands under your shoulders, hips over your knees, and think about cat pose. So round your back like a cat, push into the mat, drop your tailbone down, look at your knees. Good. Then press your torso forward like the figurehead on a ship, drop your tailbone down, press your hips towards one side, look at your little toe on the opposite side. Same thing, other side. Good. One more time with cat. Press, press, press. Lift your back. Think of the Halloween cat. Scaredy back. Pull your torso forward. Good. Without dropping your abdominals. Good. To the side. Look at the little toe. Same thing, other side. Beautiful. Let's come back to the center. Good. And have a seat on your mat. Good. As we get ready to move into the latter portion of our class, go ahead and make any wardrobe adjustments you need. Good, and let's come to our back. Good, as we come to our back, make sure you're about halfway up on your mat, and then allow yourself to flow back. Good, as you flow back, shift a little bit, wiggle your knees from side to side. Good, make sure that your lower back is attached. Good, so first thing here, knees are bent. Good. Let's draw our right knee into our chest. Place your hand either on the back of the thigh or hold the ankle or hold the side of the foot inside or out. Now this is half of happy baby pose. Take care that your left leg doesn't fall out to the side but the knee points up. Good. Take your left hand and just place it on your hip and keep that whole left side of your body super glued. So once you're here, make sure the foot's over the knee and press the knee down towards the mat. Press your shoulder blade into the mat. Good. Take care the left side of your body stays attached. Good. So here we're using happy baby unilaterally, just meaning one leg at a time. Good. And then stretch the leg upright. Maybe you change your hand position. Maybe you don't. It's up to you. And then release the leg down. Good. Now, same thing, just shift a little bit. Make sure you feel equally settled from right to left. And then bring the left leg in. Good. Hand behind the thigh. Hand on the ankle. Make sure that knee is bent. And make sure it's on the outside of your thigh and your torso. The thigh is on the outside of your torso. Good. And of course, you can always hold the foot. Just depends on you. Keep your pelvis anchored. Good. Take care that the right knee is not flopping out to the side. Beautiful. Now straighten the leg. Good. Maybe it doesn't want to go all the way straight for you today. No worries. Good. Bend again. Bring the other leg back up. Hold each at the ankle and put your feet together. So supine Baddha Konasana or butterfly. Good. Just a little press side to side. Very nice. And let the feet come down to the mat and stretch out all the way. Now let's think about a banana for a minute. The curve of a banana makes with its long yellow skin. Now slide your right leg over to the side a bit and cross your left ankle on top. So now you've got part of the curve. Good. Reach out that right arm and then left arm reaches as well. Now perhaps you're able to touch your hands. Great. Perhaps your elbow won't lay down flat. Put the back of your hand on your forehead if that's the case, but shift your upper body to the right as well. Most of the curve in Bananasana comes from the lower part of your body, but reach with the upper body as well. Now here's the only caveat. Keep the left side of your body attached. You can also bring your hand to your rib cage on this. So find the one that works for you. This is more about the elongation on the left side of your body than the curve on the right. You should feel elongation from your armpit on the left all the way down to the top of where your thigh joins into the torso. Very nice. And let's uncross. Switch the arms. Good. Now bring left leg to the side. Cross right leg on top. Good. And then start to move in that direction. Good. Back the hand on the forehead. Arm out. You just want to take care that both arms are on the mat. So you can always bend that right arm however much you need to be able to allow it to lay flat on the mat. Very, very, very nice. So 2 more breaths here. And then we come back to the center. Good. Arms come back down towards the side of your body. And then we just center back out on the mat for resting pose. Now you may find that you want to have your arms extended, legs extended. You can always bring them into butterfly or have the knees up. So any of those are good. Just find the one that speaks more to you today. And it may even feel like you want to be on your side. So you can always do that and use your bottom arm for a pillow. So any of those positions that speak to you, those poses, feel free to go there. And then for the next few moments, just focus on your breath. Shut your eyes. And just notice every spot, the sensations that come from where you're touching the mat. Perhaps you notice the flow of the air above your body. Good, and just allow yourself to be here and feel in that space that's very much like the space before we wake up. And it's kind of a quiet time. Good, and as we're there, just allow yourself to be in that time and place without expectations of going, being, but only being present and being in your breath where you are in this moment. Again, if the thoughts try to crowd back in, come back to your breath and let that thought go. Now take a moment and send yourself a positive thought. Maybe it's an affirmation, maybe it's just a positive thought. Boy, this went really well for me today, or whatever the thought may be. And once you seal that thought, help yourself up to seated position. As you come to seated position, take one moment and let's think about calming breath. So take your right hand, and go ahead and open up your eyes for a moment, but take your right hand and just tuck under your first two fingers, your index finger, good, and your middle finger. Drop them down so that you have a V position, so if you can see that pretty well. You want to take your thumb, breathe in, and breathe out on the left side, or excuse me, right side, and then you'll switch and the same thing on the other side. So let's start on your left side. So thumb on that side, inhale in, and exhale out. Go to the other side. Now continue with that. Now we're using the same side to breathe in and out from. To help balance the energies of the body and to open up the sinuses in this case. So let's do one more on each side. And then just let your hand come down and for a moment just breathe through both sides equally. Nadi Shoshani, alternate nostril breathing to find balance. As we slowly open our eyes to seal today's practice, take one moment after our practice today and take the time to go to Henrico Recreation and Parks YouTube channel, web page, Instagram page, all of the social medias, but especially our YouTube channel. And if you're not a member or a subscriber, please hit that button and then the bell, and enjoy all of the different offerings, activities, and fun things for you and your family to enjoy. It's an open door to adventure. As we seal today's practice, good, for a moment, let's breathe in and breathe out. The light that shines from within each of you, I'm privileged to share. Thank you for letting me lead your practice today. Namaste.